serve you in the ministry of music. And I appreciate their willingness to use their talents for God. And we're very talented. You know, we could set all of us down and bring up somebody else and be just as good. And we are not the A team and they're the B team. It's just how it is right now. And so we are actually very blessed in this church. I'm not going to keep you a long time. I'm going to preach to you for just a little bit, though, about giving God your dirt. How many of you have dirt? I've got some dirt in my life that I'm trying to deal with in my life. And I thought if you want to write down the title, let's give God your dirt. It's all simple, very simple title. Give God your dirt. Go to Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, if you will, with me, please. I know in the King James it says, the Lord formed man out of the dust, but dust is what? Dirt. And skin flakes and whatever else. Okay, the Lord God formed man out of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. The Lord God formed a man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. I just want to share with you where you came from. We like to think sometimes that we're mightier than we are, but we're nothing without Him. I'm just a ball of dirt without Him. That doesn't mean I think so little of myself that I'm just a little worm. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying without Him, I'm nothing, but with Him, I'm able. He came into my life to transform me. He changed me from just simply being a man of dirt to being a living soul, and to not only a living soul, but a child of God. I'm not simply just a little worm that's not worth anything, but I am something that He created, breathed into, formed, and made and fashioned. But He made me out of the dirt of the ground. He made the first man out of the dirt of the ground, and we're all formed out of that same thing. And so I want to just share with you a little bit of where we come from. And we're not all just special and pretty, and just because our teeth are straight and our eyebrows are plucked just right and our haircut is just right and our mustaches and our beards are trimmed just right. But we're not just pretty just because of our outward appearance. We're pretty because of what God does on the inside of us and how God changes the inside of us. And when He comes to our lives and He begins to breathe life into us and how He changes us from the inside out, that's what makes us pretty in the sight of God. He makes us whole and well. He pours into us His very breath. He pours into us His very Spirit. He pours into us everything that we need to sustain a blessed life. God pours into us, and He formed us out of dirt. Yes, man. Our forefather Adam was formed out of dirt, and from Adam all the rest of the generations come. So you may say, well, I'm not born out of dirt. I'm born from my mom and dad. True, but as we chase your genealogy back all the way to Adam, we'll find the first day that God formed a man out of the dust of the earth and breathed life into him and became a living soul. We can trace you back that far if we could do that. If we could trace you back to Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, if we could trace you back to that. If we can trace out, if we get our genealogy and we go all the way back, and Ancestry.com can take you all the way back, you're still part of the original dirt man. You're still part of that first man named Adam that God formed from the dust of the earth and breathed into. I don't know if you realize this, and I bet you probably do. I'm not some super genius. But you understand when God breathes life into you, and you're born again. And all of a sudden now you have the breath of God inside of you. His very Spirit, His very essence is inside of you. The very essence of God comes into your life. And you are no longer just simply a descendant from the first dirt man, Adam, but now you are His child, and You will belong to God because He not only has breathed His life into you, but He's given you eternal life. He's given you everything. So in Genesis 2:7, please put that back one more time. It says that the Lord formed man of the dust of the ground, and He breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. As a living soul, now you have a soul that must be protected. You have a soul that must be held to be precious. See, what we sometimes forget is that our souls are the most precious thing we have. We'll prostitute our soul for our whatever. A bowl of beans. We'll give our birthright up for her, for him, for a website. We'll give our birthright up because we got our feelings hurt. So we'll talk and chatter behind somebody else's back, and we'll destroy their reputation. But Jesus said, if you don't love your brother, it's like it's almost as you've committed murder already. And so I didn't say it. Jesus said it, that if you want to be a murderer, hate your brother. You understand that our soul is the most precious thing that God ever gave us. Is our soul, our very spirit that we have inside of us, our soul that must be protected 100% of the time. 100% of the time your soul must be protected. You must check your soul daily. Don't let the devil get inside your soul. Don't let the devil begin to take little hits of your soul. Don't let the devil begin to take little parts of you. And then before you ever know it, Samson, you shake yourself and nothing happens because you don't even know that the breath has been released from you. I remember back in the day, my mother, this is back in the 80s, there was some really cool thing they used to do. They used to blow up balloons, and they would put glue on the outside of the balloons and put string around the balloon. You remember? And they would make little. Then they would pop the balloon, and the string would have the shape of the balloon, and they would make little things to put on the inside, it was like an egg. You guys remember what I'm talking about? It had the shape of the balloon. It had the same form, but there was no air in the balloon. There was nothing to hold the balloon. It was fake. It was not the real thing. It was just a fake representation of what the balloon used to be. It was just the outward looking part of it, and it had string wrapped around it. It was so beautiful. They did so many different colors, and they make these little scenes on the inside of them. And for a couple of years in the 80s, they were the biggest rage. Everybody had one in their house collecting dirt. Everybody had one that seemed like. But it was a false shape. It was not, the thing that had shaped it and formed it was no longer present. The breath that had blown up the balloon had long since been dispersed. It was a fake shape. It was not simply just, there was no balloon left in there. It was a shape of the balloon, but no longer any breath inside of it. And so listen to me just real quick. Please hear me. Sometimes in our lives we have the shape of what God used to do in our lives, but there's no breath left in us. We have nothing to offer. We look like we used to look, but we don't have the breath that God gave us. We don't have it any longer, and we don't even know it, and nobody else knows it because it looks like the shape, and it's so pretty with the things on the inside. And it looks like what it used to look like. It's the same size. It's the same egg shape. But there's nothing on the inside of it. There's no life on the inside of it. When's the last time? Please look at me. Please understand. Please quit playing with your phones in your bedroom. Listen for just a minute. Look at me. When's the last time your heart was broken because of what God has done in your life? When's the last time your heart was so tender that you just sit and cry because of what God has done for you? When's the last time that you just thought back to where you used to be and where you're at today? When's the last time you took the inventory of where God brought you from? When is it? God said, from the dirt, from the dust of the earth, I'm going to make me a man. And it's not good enough that he looks like a doll. I'm going to breathe into him. I'm going to breathe into him the breath of life. I'm going to make him a living soul. I'm going to make him alive. I'm going to give him something that nobody else can give him. I'm going to give him something can't do. The devil can't give you a soul. He can steal yours. You can give it away. But he can't give you one. He can't clean you up like God can clean you up. He can't help you along the way like God will help you along the way. He can't breathe into you the breath of life. He'll breathe into you the breath of death. He cannot breathe into you anything positive. All he can do is take you and hurt you and manipulate you and make you look like the balloon still has air. But there's no air in the balloon. In Genesis chapter 3, verse 14, I love this is because the devil is told, the serpent said, the Lord said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle, above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shalt thou go, and the dust shalt thou eat all the days of your life. How about this? And the dirt you shall eat all the days of your life. The devil does nothing but eat your dirt and cause you to try to fall over your dirt. He eats your dirt. He gives you dirt. And Jesus and God has given you life. He formed you from dirt, but He didn't give you dirt. He formed you from dust, but He gave you life. He formed you from dust, but He breathed life into your lungs. He breathed life into your spirit. He caused the devil to do nothing but eat dirt. Why do we let the dirt eater come to us and talk to us about all the things that we should be doing, what we shouldn't have been done, and all this stuff? He's a dirt eater. He reminds you of your dirt. He reminds you where you came from, not where you're going. He tells you what you used to be, not what you are today. Somebody ought to get excited about something in this house. He reminds you where you came from, not where you're going. He reminds you of everything you ever did, not what you're doing. Somebody help me just a minute. I understand where I'm going with this thing. The devil, the serpent, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle, and above every beast of the field. Upon your belly shalt thou go, and the dirt, the dust, shall you eat all the days of thy life. I don't know about you. I don't know about you today. But I don't need to be reminded about what I used to be. I remember. I don't need anybody reminding me and helping me along the way what I used to do. I got it. I didn't get spiritual amnesia and forget where I came from. I didn't forget. I think I've said it here before. My first memory of my grandfather is me sitting on his lap drinking Coors beer with salt. I was probably 4 years old. He thought it was funny. He gives us, me and my cousin, sips of beer. At maybe 4 years old. I know where I came from. I know where I come from. And I know where the family that I come from. And I love them dearly. But I didn't come from a background of preachers. I don't come from a background of Holy Ghost filled, swinging from the chandelier, shouters and runners. I don't come from that in my immediate family. I don't come from that. I know where I come from. I come from beer drinkers, whiskey drinkers, cheaters, stealers, liars. You know why? Because they didn't have Jesus. In my immediate family, we were in church. My mother made me come to church, whether I wanted to or not. Didn't have a choice. I didn't have a choice when I was 18. I don't care. I'm sorry if this offends you. But I didn't have a choice. I lived in her house. I did what she said until I lived in my house. And I still did some of what she said. I don't want to offend you. But if I had my way, I wouldn't have been to church at 15 years old, 16 years old, 17 years old. I wouldn't have been to church. I ain't no stinking way. I was out doing some other stuff. Running around. Not doing anything. I wasn't killing anybody or shooting anybody in the head or nothing. We're just running around going to the lake, man. Why would I let the church bother me going to the lake? And so anyway, just say it. The devil will remind you where you came from. I don't need any help. I remember where I came from. I don't need any help knowing what my background was and the mistakes I've made. Bring your regrets and your mistakes. Bring them all. I know there's people that I don't know, I don't really have any regrets because what you did maybe who I am today. Baloney. There's something in your life that you regret. You wish you had made a better decision. Did it make who you are today? Of course it did. Of course it did. And you are who you are today because of the mistakes that you made, of course. But there's some things in my life that I do regret that I wish I had made better decisions because I was smarter than that. I should have known better. I did know better, and I made the decisions anyway because that was what the cool guys were doing. And so that's what we did. But I love it that the Bible, and in Genesis 3:14, just simply tells the devil that all the days of your life you're going to eat the dirt from them. Yeah. Genesis 3:19 says, in the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread until the return to the ground. For out of it wast thou taken. For dust thou art, and dust shall return. Amen. Wait a minute. I thought you said you breathed life in me. He gave you a living soul. Your body's going to decay. Your body's going to rot. Your body's going to fall to pieces. It's going to go back to the dirt. Your soul, however, is going to live forever. I have good gospel news for you. You're an eternal soul. You're eternal. It's just like a vampire. You'll never die. You're going to be just fine if you make the right decisions. Your soul will forever live, either heaven or hell. But your soul will forever live. You'll never find your soul will never find a grave. It'll always either be in heaven or in hell. When your body passes to be present, your astral body be present with the Lord, and then after that we'll have judgment. So your spirit, your soul will always live. Always live. In John 9:6, and I'm not going to keep you long tonight, I promise you, I'm just going to throw some things at you, leave you to ponder them. When he had thus spoken, this is Jesus, he spat on the ground and made clay of the spittle. And he anointed the eyes of the blind man with clay. Let me just share this with you. How do you make clay? Spit and dirt makes clay, right? Or Norman and James make clay. Anyway, and so, never mind. All right, and so he spit on the ground and he made dirt, and he anointed the eyes of the blind man. Now this is the blind man that was blind from his birth, and that people were saying, well, who sinned, his mom or his dad? And he's like, you morons, nobody sinned. He just simply, this is so that the glory of God could be glorified. And he put the mud on the eyes of the man. In John 11, 9:11, it says that he answered and said, a man called, they said, who made you gave you your sight? And he said, a man that's called Jesus made clay and anointed my eyes and said to me, go to the pool of Siloam and wash. And I went and washed and I received my sight. And Shalom means a couple of things. Shalach means sending forth, and Shalach means to send. That's what it says. Okay. Shalom means sending forth or to send. Amen. Jesus sent him to a pool with his eyes still closed. Oh, come on. Ah, Jesus. The clay did not immediately open his eyes. Sometimes we read it and say Jesus opened the blinded eyes with spit and clay. That's not exactly what happened. But he answered and said, a man that is called Jesus made clay and anointed my eyes and said to me, go to the pool of Siloam and wash. And when he went and washed, he received sight. Okay. I want us to share a few things with you, and I'm going to leave you alone, I promise you. It wasn't the clay that gave him sight. It was the obedience of the Word of God to go to the pool. It wasn't just the spit, and it wasn't just the mud. It was the obedience to do what Jesus said. First of all, he's got to sit there as Jesus goes. Second, he's got to sit there as he heard splat. Third, he's got to sit there as he hears. Then he's got to sit there as he goes. Hang on. Gross. Then he's got to go with mud on his eyes, an outward embarrassment. An outward sign of something out of the ordinary. I'm pretty sure he was blind, but he didn't walk around with mud in his eyes. Come on, help me just a minute. I'm pretty confident he didn't walk around with just mud from spit that was made and plastered on his face. I'm pretty confident he was sitting there going, I hope this doesn't get in my eyes, because though I'm blind, my eyes still feel. You ever have dirt in your eye? Yep. Feels great, doesn't it? No. So he goes and he sits into the pool. And he goes to the pool and he washes. He probably ran to the pool. And he washes his eyes. And when he opens his eyes, he can see. He'd never seen before. Because from his birth, he was blind. I have folks that are sitting in a church that I've pastored for almost 7 years now. And you've been born again, but you've never seen.
Oh, amen.
You've been blinded spiritually because you've never seen. You've never really seen what God's plan is for your life. You come to church, you're faithful, you give God your tithe, you give God an offering, you come to church and you work, but you've never really had your eyes open to what it is that God would have you to do, and you just think you're just a drone busy bee, and you're just supposed to do that, but God has a calling on your life, and He's just asking you to go to the pool and wash away the mud and get the dirt. Yes. But you've got to give Jesus your dirt. You've held in your dirt. You said, no, you can't use my dirt. Jesus, I need to see, but I don't want you to spit on my dirt. Jesus, I know that I'm a man and I'm made out of dirt, but please don't mess with my dirt. Jesus, I understand my life has been set free and I've been born again, but Jesus, please don't mess with my dirt. But you've got to give Jesus your dirt in order for Him to spit on it. The area the man was standing when Jesus found him was his personal space. You ever have anybody that has issues with your personal space? They're close talkers? Dude, back up. Dragon breath, back up. You with me? You just want to go, please, on Jesus. And I just, but it was his personal space. It was his dirt. Jesus took his dirt. See, there's some of y'all got dirt in your life, but you don't want Jesus messing with it because you don't have to deal with it. I like being the one that intimidates people with my attitude. Okay, first of all, you don't intimidate me. I feel sorry for you. Because it's witchcraft. I'm not Billy, I'm not telling jokes, okay? And so, I like being the one who's always mad. Good. I like being the pleaser. Preach on, Jeff. I believe you will. We have our issues in our lives. And we have our dirt in our lives that needs to be dealt with. We have dirt in our lives that we ask God, God, please don't open that. Please don't go there. Please don't spit in my dirt. Spit in somebody else's dirt, but don't spit in my dirt. Jesus, I'm comfortable in my dirt. I want to see, but I don't want to give you my dirt. I want to see what you have for me, but please don't ask me for my dirt. I want to have vision. I want to be able to see for the very first time in my born again life. I want to be able to see, but please don't mess with my dirt, because somebody's going to see my dirt on my face on display. See, if you want to get things from God, you got to give Him your dirt. Listen, look at me. Yes, dirt was on display, but what was going on the inside was not. What was going on the inside of his eyes was not on display for the whole world to see. Yes, he displayed the backside of the dirt, but nobody really knew what was the purpose of the dirt. It wasn't until he went to the pool. What happens to dirt when it gets in a big old thing of water? It disperses, doesn't it? It's almost like there's no dirt there. It's almost as much as he washed, the more he washed his dirt, the more it went away. And the more it went away, the more he began to see. He went because Jesus said, go to the pool of Siloam. Go to the pool. It's called to sin and to go forth. Well, I don't understand why everybody else seems to have a calling and I can't find mine. Go to the pool called Shalom and let your dirt be on display, but let Jesus do the miracle on the inside. Help me, somebody. Let Jesus do the miracle on the inside. Nobody has to know why you're there. Nobody has to know what your dirt's all about. All they have to know is He's washing His dirt. And as I'm washing my dirt, my sin, my dirt is dispersing. I can't put it back together and put it back in the ground. My dirt is no longer my dirt. Now it's part of the pool. Now my dirt has dispersed completely. Now I don't have any reason to say I have that in my life anymore, because no longer is that dirt in my life. Because I've given it to Jesus. And now I can see. The first time in my life I could see. Isn't it amazing that people come to you and they say, what's wrong with you? How come now you can see and you couldn't see before? What happened to you? Why is there something going on in your life? I can see a difference in you. What happened to you? We have to give Jesus our dirt to be brought to life. We have to be sent. We have to give Jesus our dirt to be sent. We have to have Jesus and give Jesus our dirt to be made in the form that He wants us to be made in, and be whole, that we can reach our destiny. Amen. You know what this Bible is? It's not a book of destiny. It's a book of decisions. It can take you to a place, and it can give you a destination. But you choose what destiny you have. He could have sit there and said, no, you can't have my dirt, and he'd be blind to his death. But when he made the decision to go to the pool, then from that point on, he began to see, and his eyes were open from that point on, when he went to the pool and watched. The Bible is not a book of destiny, but it is a book of destination. The Bible is a book of decisions, and with every decision, we move toward our destiny. Amen. What is it that you want in your life? Oh, I want to be happy. Then make a decision for Christ. Quit trying to live halfway in church and halfway out. Oh, God, I love you so much, but I hate these people. Okay? Makes no sense to me. God, I love you, but I don't want to live common problem. The people love God, but they don't want to live for God. I believe that. I believe you can love God, but not want to do what He says do, because inside of us we're rebellious. We don't want to do the right thing. We want to do the thing that feels the best. In the last days, men will be pleasers of themselves, or have pleasure of themselves, or the pleasures of God. Something like that. Yeah. I believe that there's churches full of people that love God. They truly do. But they struggle with the obedience to go to the well. The Bible is a book of decisions. Give God your dirt. But I don't want anybody to know my dirt. He already knows your dirt. He knows. He knows. He knows your thoughts before you committed dirt. He knows it all. Boy, it's quiet. But He reaches toward you. He reaches toward you no matter what. He calls to you no matter what. On the sign out front it says, find your destiny. I tell you why I put that on there is this, because you have to find your own. You have to choose your own path. God has a plan. He does. But you choose your own destiny. You choose where you go and how you do it. You choose your destination. As a group, as a church, we choose our destination. Yeah, I have what I believe God gave us some plans to do and some things to do. But as a church, we have to choose to do them. Give God your dirt. Let the devil eat your dirt.
Amen.
Listen, he has no authority over you, Micah. And all that stuff that's in our past, eat it. Don't remind me of it. Eat it. Eat my past. You can have it because my past is my past. You can have all that you want, but you can't eat my future. You can just eat my past. All that dirt. I come from dirt. I'll return to dirt, but I ain't dirt right now. You with me? I'm not. The devil can eat it. Let God form it. It's His dirt anyway. Give God your dirt and let Him form out of that dirt what He wants you to be. Make the decisions to follow Christ. Make the decision. I'm not done, but I'm quitting. Church, some of you need to open your eyes for the very first time. See, somehow, some way we've done a bad job and told you just come to the altar and repeat this prayer and everything will be okay. But we didn't tell you to give God everything that you have. That's the good and the bad. Give Him everything. All that I have, I give you. Everything. See, do you understand that the wedding ceremony is a portrait of salvation? Do you understand that? That when you stand up before God and you stand up before a preacher, and everything that I have is now yours and everything you have is now mine, that is a portrait of what God does salvation-wise. I give you this, and I give you this, and we become one as we become one with Christ. That's what it is. It's a covenant. Boom, we're one. That's what it is. So if I fail to give God the part of me that I'm ashamed of, then He can't deal with it. Because I've kept it in reserve.
Right.
No, God, I'm not worthy for you to have that. I'll give you my joy. I'll give you my happiness. I'll give you my money. I'll give you this part of my life, but I'm ashamed of this part. I don't want you to see this part because we're trying to get together here. And we think that if we give God our bad part, He's not going to love us anymore. Wrong. He loves you even the more because He trust. That's not the right way to say that, but He can't love you any more than He already does. I understand that. But He loves the more that you trust Him with everything and not just part. I love her more now than when I married her. God's honest truth. In 1994, I loved her. 2018, I absolutely adore her. I love her more than I've ever loved anything in my life. Why? Because I know everything, I think. Probably not. I know a lot of stuff now that I didn't know in 1994. The good and the bad. And God loves you so much. Don't be afraid to give Him your dirt. Because when you give Him your dirt, you've given Him all of you. Don't just give Him the good stuff. Give Him all of you. Don't just give Him what you want to give Him. Give Him all of you. See, don't be turned off and say, well, God won't love me anymore. Wrong. Wrong. He knows your dirt and loves you so much that He did nothing but die for you. Hang on a cross for you. Go to the bowels of hell for you. Bring back the keys of death, hell, and the grave for you. Set you free. Give you everything your heart's desire could ever have. Why? Because He knows who you are and He loves you still the same. Because He is God and He's God alone. From dirt to dirt, He loves you the same. And He wants all of you. He wants everything in you. He wants everything you have. Last thing, and I'm closing. I want you to see for the very first time. It's very freeing to give God all of you. To just not care anymore, not hang on to, the baggage. But to give Him everything. Now here's the trick. You can't give God your baggage and then go pack another suitcase with the same trash in it. You can't do it. Because you're still going to carry it around for the rest of your life. That ain't good. Here's my stuff, God. Okay. I'm going to pack some stuff while you're not looking. Same stuff. Achan stole a garment and wedges of gold. And God killed everything he ever owned. Because he hid it in the tent. Here it is, too late. I told you not to touch it. I told you not to take it. Killed everything he ever had. Because when nobody was looking, he was packing a bag. Same thing in our lives. And sometimes we feel like, well, it's just a little thing. It's just a little wedge of gold. It's just one garment. And God said, I told you not to touch it. I told you to leave it alone. I told you not to mess with it. I told you, listen, I've heard all the arguments about, well, God can God understands that this and that, the other excuses we've all made about sinning. But can I share with you this, that God did tell us that we could have every tree of the garden, but the one we can't touch. Remember? He told us that we could have all these things in our lives. Yes, you can have these, this. But there's some things in our lives that God told us not to touch. And that seems to be the thing we run to the most. And maybe God did it on purpose. To see if you love Him more than the thing. Maybe God did it on purpose. Maybe God made the tree so beautiful and look, the fruit looks so good that maybe He just wanted to see, do you love me or do you love the tree? You with me? You understand what I'm saying? Give God all. Let Jesus spin in your dirt. Let Jesus wipe it on your eyes. Let Jesus tell you what to do to get it off. Let Jesus, but you have to be willing to give up your dirt. With me? With me? Stand your feet.